Hey everyone. So, with each new chapter, I'm definitely getting more and more of the sense of a sort of Atlantis vibe with the Void Centuries history, just from how the whole idea of this advanced civilization, advanced kingdom having sunken beneath the waves due to the power of its own technology and weaponry. Yeah, it's exactly a one for one of what happened to the city of Atlantis and those legends. Now, when Vegapunk says the war that happened centuries ago never truly came to an end and continues today, I'm curious under what context he means by that. Because if I had to guess, I'm assuming this is where discussion of the will of D is going to start coming into play, and those that carry the name of D are descended from those who lived during the time of the Void Century. Especially now that one of those people, aka Luffy, has the power of Joy Boy. That's kind of how I'm viewing it right now. But all that in itself just raises the question even more of if Joy Boy and if the war back then was all just was just a was just a complete a disparate sort of like a disparate argument of ideology and where to take the world, then where does who then it just begs the question of even more of who is Emu and where does it fit into this equation? Because to me, the one thing that has been made clear is that I genuinely think Emu is the last surviving monarch from that century where those 20 rulers rose up to fight Joy Boy. And as far as the reason it's still alive, well, yeah, I think at this point we can thank the Op fruit for that one. At least that's how the pieces are kind of fitting in my brain right now. Right now, that the reason as to why Emu specifically is still alive after all these centuries is that the Op someone used the Op fruit on Emu in order to give it sort of immortality. Now, now I also recognize the Op fruit theory doesn't exactly explain how the Elders are immortal unless it's more to do with their own Devil Fruit powers. So it's like I think the Op fruit is probably more likely what happened with Rimu. It's just the others that are still the question in that regard. Um, and yeah, just learning all the islands we've ever visited are just smaller pieces of what the ancient kingdom used to be is probably the most insane part of this, but in a way it does make sense as to why the Grand Line itself has always been considered the most volatile because it is in a fashion the center of the world as it used to be. It's standing on the ruins of what the world once was. Like all the all the weather phenomenon, all everything that having to do with everything that having to do with what makes the Grand Line so treacherous of a sea to begin with, it all just traces back to that ancient kingdom. The ancient kingdom is what has caused a lot of these phenomenon to basically persist in in the Grand Line because it's both the ancient weapons and the ancient kingdom trying to flourish back, trying to regain itself back, and with and that's actually the other thing too. The way Vegapunk describes the ancient weapons and their purpose in this chapter, it's sounding like he's saying the ancient weapons have a will of their own, meaning in their attempt, in the government's attempt to suppress them, the ancient weapons are likely going to return whether or not someone actually tries to revive them or not. But the question, but again, he also mentions how it's also impossible to bring them back via the world's current state of technology. So it's like it it's so like it's one of those things where like how can these things return if they can't be rebuilt properly again unless it's sort of like that whole spear that they're like unless again it's that sort of thing where the weapons have a mind of their own in order to rebuild themselves. I don't know. that's the part that's still kind of a little weird to me, but hopefully it gets further expanded on. I don't know. And yeah, the revelation of all this just makes the government's use of the Mother Flame even worse because again, they're repeating the same cycle all over again that was caused by the ancient weapons to begin with, all because they wanted to prevent the return of the ancient kingdom. Like this is like more than I've always said that the government is incompetent, but this is beyond belief. This is a true comedy of errors where the government has been so consumed by their own paranoia of the existence of the ancient of this one kingdom that they might effectively be guaranteeing its return. And that to me at least is the most hilarious thing about this is that everything they've done has only exacerbated the situation even further when truly all they ever had to do, at least from my understanding, was basically just leave well enough alone. But because of their fear of that kingdom, because of their fear of those with the letter D, because of their fear of Joy Boy, because of all these factors, they are being forced to reckon with the situation now come what may. And again, you're not gonna have me feeling sympathy for them when they're the ones who caused us. As the saying says, as the saying goes, fuck around and find out. And the others in Eam are finding out the hard way just how much they've fucked up. Now, fucked up. And yeah, like what else is there to say on this regard? Like the this is again a true comedy of errors where the girl is like fucked up royal. Now, if I did have a slight complaint with this chapter, I felt this would have been the perfect opportunity to give us a full face reveal of Emu rather than keeping the character in the shadows, but we could be building up to that as well for next chapter. I don't know, it's just it hopefully that yeah, we are gonna get that reveal soon. Um on a slightly lighter note, though, I honestly can't tell which cameo I was more annoyed by in this chapter. Demalo Black and his crew pretending to be Kid and his crew, which, right out of the gate, buddy, you're lucky the Marines caught you and not Kid himself, otherwise you'd be fish food. Or second cameo, which is Foxy's return, and that one just has me raising an eyebrow like, okay, why is Foxy back? Like, why at all? Like, what future narrative purpose is he gonna have? It's if he's showing it up again. Like Foxy. I've never hated Foxy like so many other people, but I do admit Foxy's that one character where it's like, what is this dude's purpose? Why is this dude's purpose for being around? And even more so, especially in this chapter, why is he now coming back? Like, what future narrative purpose is he gonna serve if he's showing up again? Or finally, the third cameo that kind of annoyed me is the entire population of Mocktown showing up again. Like, here's the thing: if the world is set to sink under the sea, I wouldn't be against Mocktown being the only part of the world we just let sink into the ocean because that place is filled with absolute scum suckers, and I am not gonna miss any one of them. Like the rest of the world, yeah, we gotta save, but Mocktown. Let that place sink for all I care. The only reason I would have for saving Mocktown would be to save Cricket's home, but given what we've seen from cover stories, I don't think he or the Satayama Alliance have docked there in a while. With that said, we also get a very interesting exchange between Stussy and Edison, where the latter says there's no point in Stussy sticking around anymore and she should escape with Straw Hats. With Stussy replying that without Stella around, who do I live for? Now, this might be me reading way too much into it, but her answer is kind of interesting in the sense where it does show she only ever sees, because this Stussy is a clone, it is interesting in how it shows she only ever sees her worth in whoever she's serving. She's a clone of someone who both served with Vegapunk and under the legendary Rocksteady Zebek. And in that context, I think she feels like she doesn't have any worth outside of sharing DNA with the real Buckingham Stussy. And honestly, Kaku getting a front row seat to all this does make me curious what he's gonna do, what decision he's gonna make, because he seems to be kind of growing sympathetic to her plight in a way, and just kind of what it just kind of begs the question: what exactly is his end game here? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell with the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of signing off. Later, everyone.